Good evening, everybody. Happy Thursday. I'm KPBS Interim General Manager Nancy Worley, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to one of my favorite events every year, the One Book, One San Diego Pitch Party, the official kickoff of the 16th annual One Book season. Hope you're all comfortable at home this Thursday evening. Have your beverage of choice ready. You're ready to see some great books and hear about some great authors and books for, I call this my summer reading party. This is where I get my list of my summer reading. So we want to thank some of the most important and loyal supporters of One Book, One San Diego, and special guests from the community. That is all of you here tonight. This past year, we continued with much of One Book, One San Diego programming in the virtual space. And while the response continues to be extraordinary, we do look forward to hopefully being back in person for One Book events in the coming months. As we usher in our new One Book year, let's first celebrate the hard work and community impact of this last season. It was phenomenal. In September and December of 2021, we held two wonderful virtual events for our adult selection, Being Human, an unrepentant memoir of a disability rights activist with author Judith Heumann. In November, we featured Victoria Jameson and Omar Muhammad, our teen selection creators of When Stars Are Scattered. And just last month, we wrapped up the 2021 season with our One Book for Kids virtual event featuring the author of All the Way to the Top, Annette Bay Pimentel, and the subject of the book, Jennifer Keelan Chaffins. These live streams, in addition to the numerous programs you all made happen, had incredible reach across San Diego, inspiring thousands of readers of all generations. Thank you for your amazing support of One Book and sustained partnership. Tonight, you'll get the inside scoop on some of the hottest titles being nominated for the new One Book season, pitched by a cast of our special insiders. In between pitches, there will be drawings for gift cards redeemable at San Diego's wonderful independent booksellers, all of whom are One Book community partners. And I'd like to acknowledge our wonderful One Book advisory committees, a group of library professionals, community book lovers, and educators who select the books from hundreds of public nominations each year. Thank you all. And if you have a question for our MCs during the event, you can type it in the comments section. And now, without further ado, I'd like to thank you all again for joining us tonight and then turn over things to our MCs, Janelle Dean, KPBS's Community Engagement Manager, and Scott Eric Burgess, Public Engagement Manager of the Library Shop at the San Diego Public Library. Janelle and Scott, welcome and have fun. I can't wait.
Thank you, Nancy. Hey, Scott.
Where are you guys? I thought we were doing this at the library tonight. What's going on, man?
Oh, no, we didn't get the memo.
Oh, awkward, super awkward. Well, I'm here in the beautiful Neil Morgan Auditorium, and hopefully next year we can all be here together. I'll move a little closer, I guess, so you can see me.
Next year we will be there, Scott. Definitely. Well, we'll do the best we can in this virtual space, and then resume some normalcy hopefully next year. But it's good to see you. Sorry, excuse me. Hi everyone out there. I'm Janelle Dean, the Community Engagement Manager at KPBS, the new kid on the block here, but super excited to be here this evening and kick off our 2022 One Book season. I want to thank everyone for joining and double down on Nancy's remarks and really thank all of you for your continued support of One Book, One San Diego. This program has prevailed through the pandemic and in the virtual space because of the support of community partners like you, namely the San Diego Public Library, the San Diego County Library, educators, and book lovers across the county. A little bit more about the impact this past year. There were thousands of copies of the books selected, checked out, purchased, and shared. There were over 50 events across the San Diego and Imperial County and Baja California. And there were countless conversations and many, many, many connections made. So I look forward to this year. Scott, as we end this 2021 one book season. Any highlights you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. And before I share that, I want to thank KPBS for making the puzzling decision to invite me back to host. Last year's co-host, my good friend Margot, she's no longer with KPBS. So Janelle, I hope this isn't a curse that you're on the show with me. I've met you virtually and you're great so far. So looking forward to working with you. But I think my favorite thing from One Book last year was the children's event for All the Way to the Top. So it was a star-studded show. It featured obviously the author Annette Bay Pimentel, but it also had Jennifer, who is the subject of the story. And then it had one of my favorite librarians, Angie Stava. She is super great. She has like the greatest librarian like smile and vibe ever. She's just so good with the kids. And they also had the Miss Wheelchair of America as one of the special guests. And this book is like super meaningful to me personally. I have a niece who has a genetic disorder that has left her in a wheelchair for her whole life. She has to breathe with a machine. And she was told, her parents were told she would not live past the age of 7 or 8. And things like this have inspired so many people. This woman's story, my niece, you'd be happy to hear, is a college graduate now.
Wow.
She's in her mid-20s. And so I think that anybody can accomplish anything if we just give people the chance and the opportunity. And this book really tells that story. And then I know we have a clip that we can show from the events. Another event the library did in support of the One Book was they had a therapy horse at the library. The horse's name is Hershey Kiss, and maybe we have a clip we could roll from that.
Hi, this is Hershey Kiss. I'm Vicki Bannister, and Hershey's part of an organization called Healing Hoofprints. And we are at the library today, and although Hershey doesn't usually read very many books, he always reads one book. And we're just thrilled to be here and thrilled to be a part of your organization, and we wish that you have a great kickoff party.
Oh my gosh. I think it's a first that we have a miniature horse as a part of the pitch party. So that it can't get any more exciting than that. Scott, Hershey Kiss, adorable.
That was amazing. I didn't actually see it, but that was amazing.
Adorable. And now you are in the library shop.
I am in the library shop, a nonprofit book and gift shop inside the Central Library. I think all you guys on the stream have met me before and heard that spiel. So I'll end it there, but I'm back. I'm ready.
You're ready. All right. So amazing subjects, authors, and miniature horses. I'm not sure if we'll be able to top 2021, but let's give it a try. So let's get started with our opening pictures, actually, and a drawing. First up, our very first pictures coming from Rosa Parks Elementary. You all are actually in for a huge treat with this pitch. So one of the biggest, most exciting components of One Book each year is the partnership that we have with schools and classrooms in our region and across the border, as One Book is a binational program. We give away thousands of books each year, and the stories are incorporated into curriculum for students to learn and discuss. And we're so thankful for our educational partners in the San Diego Unified School District for engaging students with One Book and prioritizing literacy. Tonight, we have an extra special pitch from Miss Goss's 3rd grade class at Rosa Parks Elementary. Many thanks to Mr. Jepson and Miss Goss for helping put this together. So let's see the first pitch.
In silence so loud, all I could hear was my racing heart. We began to walk, hand in hand we marched, so frightened, yet certain of what was right for freedom. The path may be long and troubled, but I'm gonna walk on. Did you know that in 1963 in Birmingham, Alabama, black people could not drink from the same water fountains as the white people, and black children could not attend the same schools as white children? Did you know that children around the same age as me stood up against this injustice and bravely marched in the name of civil rights, and eventually helped to change the laws? If not, there is a book you need to read. Hi, my name is Andrea, and I'm speaking to you on behalf of Mrs. Goss's class at Rosa Parks Elementary School with our pick for this year's One Book, One San Diego. We think you should choose Let the Children March, written by Monica Clark Robinson and illustrated by Frank Morrison. In 2019, this picture book won a Coretta Scott King honor for its illustrations. In the story, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. calls on the African American residents of Birmingham to peacefully protest segregation laws. The adults were worried they might lose their jobs, so their children decided to march on behalf of their parents. Overcoming fear, children marched for civil rights. Even though they were peaceful, they were blasted with water hoses. Dogs were set loose on them, and they even got put in crowded jail cells. News of the protests were seen all over the world, and city leaders finally agreed to desegregate the city. "I'm so proud of you, baby girl," Mama said. "Your march was what made them see with nothing more than our feet, voices, and courage. We had done what others could not. Change was right around the corner." In my opinion, I think that kids should read this book to encourage themselves to change things in the world, in the present and future.
I think Let the Children March is a perfect book because it teaches important history lessons. I think Let the Children March is a good book because in my opinion, kids can be agent of change like the children in the book.
Let the Children March is an amazing book because kids can learn about history. Let the Children March is the perfect book for third graders because it teaches us history and a lot more. Let the Children March is a recommended book for other kids to read because it teaches us how we can work together to change unfair laws in our government.
Right, if not for several days in jail.
Well, that's the thing I learned something new today. So they brought their toothbrushes because if they had to go to jail, you needed to brush your teeth, right? And that was code. It was secret, right? Bring your toothbrushes. So here's the DJ. He's pretty young, and he was one that would make the announcement over the radio. Party in the park tonight. Bring your toothbrush. What does it really mean? It's time to march.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I peaked in third grade. I won a spelling bee, and I thought that was pretty amazing. And it's been like a flat line ever since. I don't even know what to say about that video. Like I showed up with a pony gets on an elevator video, and this production values, the passion, it was amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. I think the other pitches tonight have a lot to live up to with that. I mean, it was incredible. So hello out there to Miss Goss's third grade class. I think some of you are watching this evening.
Oh, cool.
Thank you so much for that amazing pitch. And I also want to thank the San Diego County of Education, Office of Education, for also connecting us with schools and students all over the county. So as you can see, One Book has a major impact on our students. So we'll have to keep up the good work. All right, Scott. So this wouldn't be a one book party without free books. So
Sure.
I think
are we going to raffle?
Yeah, let's do a drawing. So
Okay, so last year's format, we had a book, and I rifled through the pages, and you told me to stop, and then I read a number. And so this year, I decided to pick the Spanish version of the George Takei one book from what year? Wait, I don't even know what year this is. 2020. This was the 2021 book selection. And I intentionally picked the Spanish book to put a seed in the mind of the committee that, New York publishes books and they live in a bubble and they don't give us a lot of options for Spanish. And I think in our community, it's important that we have options that are both in Spanish and English. So let's not only try to find something on the committee that works, but also pressure the publishers to do better.
Absolutely. Awesome. So yes, let's do it the same way as last year. And we had 106 registrants.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, and we have $25 gift cards tonight to our participating bookstores. And I'll follow up with all the winners tomorrow on how to claim those gift cards. So let's start with 2 gift cards to your home turf, the library shop.
Oh, no pressure. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
Shout it out. 52.
All right, let's see here. 52, the lucky winner is Robin Lang.
Hey, I know Robin.
Congratulations, Robin.
Robin, you can shop online if you can't get down here. libraryshopsd.org.
There you go. Let's do one more.
Okay.
Stop.
38.
38, we have Susan Cook.
All right, Susan.
Congratulations, Robin and Susan. $25 to the library shop. All right, let's keep this train moving and take a look at our next pitcher, who is Amanda Kassar from Warwick's Bookstore.
I'm Amanda Kassar. I'm the marketing coordinator at Warwick's in La Jolla. The book I'm pitching as the next adult, One Book, One San Diego, is a genre-bending memoir called Home Baked, My Mom, Marijuana, and the Stoning of San Francisco by Alia Volz. Way before cannabis dispensaries became as seemingly numerous as Starbucks, Alia's mother started the first large-scale marijuana brownie distribution business in San Francisco in the 70s. This book rigorously and entertainingly documents a time that has had massive social and cultural impact on both California and the world at large. It's not only the story of the rise of cannabis edibles, but also the story of an entire generation, and sadly too, the story of an epidemic, the AIDS epidemic, and how cannabis helped those who were suffering. It's also a story of a wildly unconventional family. It's glamorous and fun to read, but also soul-searching and poignant, and an exquisitely well-researched history of San Francisco itself. The Paris Review says, under Volz's careful attention, all of it, the era, the place, and her own parents, is rendered clear, bright, and beautiful. Anyone who loves San Francisco needs to read it. Anyone who uses cannabis for recreation or medicine should read it. Anyone who enjoys humane, funny, sharp, and heartbreaking investigations of family and the nature of memory should read it. It's one of the best works of nonfiction I've ever read in my more than 20 years of book selling. This book was the winner of the 2020 Golden Poppy Award for Nonfiction from the California Independent Booksellers Alliance, and it's now available in a beautiful paperback edition with updated cover art, fantastic photographs and art throughout, and a wonderful reading group guide in the back of the book. It's both a quintessentially Californian story and a universal story that anyone who has ever attempted to unravel a tangled family history will well relate to. The author herself is lovely, and having launched both the hardcover and the paperback book during the pandemic, I know she would be thrilled to find a larger audience for the book here in Southern California. Thank you for your consideration.
Thanks, Amanda. That was great.
I think I can say this because I live in La Jolla and I used to work at Warwick's. That was the first time since Warwick's opened in 1896 that they've been associated with cannabis. So we're We are entering a new world, everybody. So
It's
cool.
a new age. It is a new age. Very cool. Thanks, Amanda, so much. So we have 2 gift cards to Warwick's. So let's do it.
And it is 1896. It is the country's oldest family-owned bookshop, owned by the same family since 1896.
Wow.
All right, I'm ready.
We're going to have some lucky winners. Stop.
55.
All right. 55. Who's it going to be? Susanna Owen. Congratulations, Susanna.
All right.
Okay, let's do one more.
Yep.
Stop.
That's creepy. 54. Hopefully
wow.
it's not Susan's best friend.
Maybe Susanna's guest. Deborah Brenner. Congratulations.
Deborah Byrne. They can go to Warwick's together. It'll be a great afternoon.
Do some shopping and have some fun. Get some good books. Maybe some of the ones recommended tonight. Okay. Let's see. Scott, are you following One Book on social media?
Wow, is this intervention? Am I being put on the spot here? Sure.
Putting you on the spot.
Yeah. At sign One Book SD, hopefully.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if not, I'm going to tell you how. So we want to get everyone tonight on social media following One Book, One San Diego. If you're on Twitter, follow at One Book SD. Doing it right now.
Yeah,
and if you're on Facebook, check out at One Book, One San Diego.
I am following you on Facebook as the library shop. I think one of the things a lot of the library shop crowd would love to see is an Instagram One Book. Just putting that thought out there.
Putting it into the universe. Yes.
That's right.
We have a KPBS Instagram that we'll definitely start using. And then, maybe that will get us inspired to start our own Instagram.
Okay.
So there's a lot of good pictures and images around One Book. I mean,
then when you go TikTok, I'm not going to host anymore. I'm out. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, we recently talked about TikTok.
I bet. Yeah.
We have some homework to do there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so yes, follow us and let's get buzzing about One Book. Our next pitcher is Tom Benton from Penguin Random House. Roll the clip.
Hi, I'm Tom Benton from Penguin, here to present my choices for this year's One Book, One San Diego. I start with a book that really needs no introduction. This is Britt Bennett's The Vanishing Half. It's the story of twin sisters who take very different paths from their small southern community. One of them stays in that small town where they grew up, while the other has escaped to the West Coast while passing for white. The book takes the reader from the Deep South to California and from the 50s to the 90s. So it's a riveting, emotional family saga and a brilliant exploration of the American history of passing. When we published The Vanishing Half in the summer of 2020, it touched a powerful chord in the entire country and went on to be a #1 bestseller, received every possible accolade, and really turned Britt Bennett into an American icon. I'm bringing this to you now, though, to remind you that Britt grew up in San Diego, making this a perfect choice for One Book, One San Diego. My second book is Sanjana Sathian's Gold Diggers. It also has a strong California connection, coming in paperback in April. So Gold Diggers begins in Atlanta among second-generation Indian American high school students. They're all very successful and under intense pressure to get into the very top schools. The main character of the book, Neil, doesn't have that same drive and ambition as those around him, and he discovers that the secret to their success is this ancient potion made from stolen gold. When you drink the potion, you get the drive and ambition of the gold's original owner. The second half of the novel is set in California, Silicon Valley. Neil's a graduate student, again surrounded by people with that same intensity. So it's an immigrant story, sharply observed, hilarious, wise about ambition and identity and our history. And there's that surprising twist of magic. It's that rare novel that deals with important subjects while still being really fun to read. Finally, I want to add Ramon and Julieta, just published as a trade paperback original. It's a Latinx rom-com and a celebration of San Diego with all of its complexities of class and gentrification. There's also the delight of the Romeo and Juliet retelling. It's a fresh, modern take on the original. And there's no hotter book category right now than the rom-com. So I'm sure this would be a major crowd pleaser if it was selected as San Diego's one book. Thank you so much and hope to see you next year in person.
Thanks, Tom.
Tom is a legendary book rep. His picks are always, he's like so eloquent about books and he has such good taste. And he actually, I knew him before I lived in San Diego because he is such a legendary rep. He was the rep for my bookstore that my wife worked at in a little town in Colorado back in the 90s. So he is a book selling legend.
Awesome. Some great recommendations from Tom. All right. Next up, we have Seth Marco from the Book Catapult. We're so excited and thrilled to have some of our local booksellers as a part of the evening, including Seth, and we'll have a drawing for the Book Catapult after the pitch. So let's hear from Seth.
Hey there, Seth Marco from the Book Catapult. My two recommendations this year for one book are In the Distance by Hernan Diaz and Sharks in the Time of Saviors by Kavai Strong Washburn. In the Distance is an immigrant story, but a little different. It's about a Swedish guy who comes over in the 1850s to the United States. He's with his brother in Europe and they get separated, and he ends up, instead of going to New York, he ends up in San Francisco without his brother. So he spends his early years trying to get to New York to get to his brother. And it becomes sort of so he's moving eastward as the westward expansion is happening during the gold rush and everybody's moving to California. So it's kind of a backwards immigration story. But he's lost in the desert a lot, has a very kind of circuitous nature to it, but also sort of Homerian, like the Odyssey. He meets a lot of strange characters out in the desert. But it's definitely like a parable about the modern immigrant or the modern refugee. There's a lot to unpack in this book. We read it in our Book Catapult book club and had a really great discussion about it. So some of the community's already read it. So it's a great conversation book and a little bit outside the box, I think. My other pick is Sharks in the Time of Saviors by Kavai Strong Washburn. Some of it's set in San Diego. He has some San Diego ties. It's primarily about this family from Hawaii. There are 3 kids in the family, and they're on this boat ride with their parents when they're young, and the youngest son falls in the water, and there's sharks in the water, and you think it's going to be this like terrible sequence, but it's not. One of the sharks saves him and picks him up in its mouth and carries him back to the ship. So it turns out he has this kind of innate ability to commune with nature, but also to heal people and kind of absorb their emotions and all bad things. And you can't do it forever. So you think you know what this book is about at the beginning. This is the first half. It takes a pivot in the middle and becomes something completely different. More about the tightness of this family and about the kind of old mythology and folklore of Hawaii. It's one of the best books I've read in the last couple of years. I recommend it all the time. Those that know me know that I talk about this book whenever I can. I think both of those would be excellent choices. I think they're good conversations. I think both authors would be interested in that being part of one book. So I hope you will consider them. Thanks.
Many thanks to Seth. There you go. I love all the San Diego connections too.
Yeah, and speaking of San Diego connections, I think a theme that maybe everyone's noticed so far is the book selling community in San Diego is super close knit. So Seth has worked at Warwick's before. He worked at UCSD bookstore. He branched out in 2017 to start his own bookshop in South Park. So it's all just one big book loving family in San Diego. So which makes one book even better for us all, right?
Absolutely. I love it. Love it. All right. So we have 2 gift cards to the Book Catapult.
Or I can send you a copy of the Shark book if you want to. So I'm sure Seth would love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try to get a lower number here. Ready, go.
Go. Stop.
Ah,
You tripped me up. Stop.
number 8.
Oh, a good low one. Okay, let's see. Okay. Guido Oliva. I'm really sorry if I'm not pronouncing any of the names tonight correctly, by the way, but Guido Oliva at the San Diego County Library.
Oh, cool. County Library.
Congratulations. All right. Stop.
63.
Okay. 63, Susan Macbeth.
Hey,
And Susan.
my good buddy Susan. We've done Daniel Pink. We started doing in public events again at the library shop, and Susan and I partnered on a recent one with Daniel Pink, and we've got another one coming up at the La Jolla Library in May with Lynn Cox, the woman who swam across the Bering Strait famously.
Incredible.
So another great bookseller in town.
Awesome. Congratulations. All right. So we're about halfway through our pitches, believe it or not. So we'll keep it going. Next up is Shannon Grant from Simon & Schuster.
Hi, One Book, One San Diego. I'm Shannon Grant from Simon & Schuster, and the 2 books I'd like to nominate are Your Heart, My Sky by Margarita Engel. This is a gorgeous young adult novel told in verse. It's appropriate for ages 12 and up. Set in Cuba in the 1990s during what the government called the special period in the time of peace. It's when Cuba's citizens are trying to subsist on inadequate food rations due to U.S. trade embargoes against communist allies after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Teenagers Liana and Amando find each other and fall in love thanks to the matchmaking efforts of a stray dog. Despite their days being filled with constant hunger and fear of being caught and punished for not complying with a summer of volunteer farm labor. It's a powerful look at a particular time in history. It's beautifully told and ultimately hopeful. It's also available in paperback and simultaneously in Spanish, which makes it a great choice for you guys. The next book I want to talk about is Infinite Country by Patricia Engel. This book has one of the best opening lines I've read in a long time. It was her idea to tie up the nun. This is 15-year-old Talia, who's stuck in a remote reformatory for girls when she should be in Bogota, Colombia, with her father preparing to catch a flight to reunite with her mother and her siblings in the United States. It switches narratives from Talia's cross-country journey to make the flight to her parents' past when they met and fell in love as teenagers and fled to the United States to escape violence and poverty at home. They didn't intend to overstay their visas, but life happens, and they are making one for themselves and their children until Mara is caught driving without a license and is deported back to Colombia. Now they're a fractured family trying to maintain their bonds despite forces out of their control. Patricia's writing is spectacular. I wasn't able to put it down until I knew how their story would end. Here's a great quote from the New York Times Book Review. The prose is serpentine and exciting, with intimate and meticulously rendered descriptions of Andean landscapes and mythology, of Colombia's long history of violence, a compulsively readable novel. Thank you so much for your time. Take care, and hopefully we'll see you in person next time.
Thanks, Shannon.
Can we pause to reflect? Shannon was holding up book covers with her phone. Tom was using pieces of printed paper. While the elementary school, with all the budget challenges that schools face, they had like an Oscar-nominated feature film. So
I know.
let's step it up, everybody.
They set the bar high.
They really did. We should have played. We should have played them last. They should have been last.
I know, totally.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Shannon. We're going to keep going. Our next picture is from another one of our favorite independent bookstores, La Playa Books. Here's Marianne Reiner.
This is Marianne at La Playa Books, and this is our selection for One Book, One San Diego. For fiction for adults, we have selected Oh Beautiful by Chong Yun. This is an amazing story of a young woman who reinvents herself after being a model for years to become a freelance writer. And when she's sent to North Dakota, to the Bakken region, where she's actually from, where she grew up as a Korean American, she really discovers so much more than what she was assigned to write about. I think it's a story that will resonate with our community, with women, with immigrants, with writers, with readers. It's really a story for everyone. So I hope you give it a try. Our second selection is for middle grade. This is Starfish by Lisa Phipps. We're big fans of this book. This is a story of Ellie, a 12-year-old girl who is bullied because of her weight. And thanks to some amazing friends and to the strength that she has for herself, she finds who she is and what really matters in life. And it certainly is not your weight. And the story resonates so much with so many readers, has been taught in so many schools, and I think our community will love this book. So I hope you will give it a try. And last but certainly not least, I would like to recommend Survivor Tree by local author Marcy Colleen and illustrated beautifully by Aaron Baker. This is a story of an actual tree that survived the 9/11 site after the fall of the Twin Towers, and that was replanted at the memorial site. So I hope you can choose this book as well. Thank you.
That Survivor Tree book by Marcy Colleen, she is super amazing. She actually, before the pandemic, she hasn't been able to since, but before the pandemic, she wrote all of her children's books inside the central library on the 8th floor in the reading room. So she would come in every day of the week and go up there and work the whole day. So really cool lady. And Marianne is great. She used to own Run for Cover in Ocean Beach, and she ran into a little lease landlord trouble that we won't go into, but she now has found a new home working at La Playa with Amy over there. They are great new and used bookstores. So in fact, there's amazing bookstores in town, and I should do a quick plug for the San Diego Book Crawl, which is coming back to in-person after 2 years of virtual. We're going to do full in-person again. It's April 30th. And if you just check out maybe SD Book Crawl on social media, you'll find info. But it's 11 bookstores this year. And if you go to all 11, you win a trophy that has been, it says Book Crawler Champion. You can't see it with the light here.
Yeah.
But it's printed in the 3D printing lab at your San Diego Public Library. So check that out in April.
Cool. So say the date again, April 30th?
April 30th, which is Independent Bookstore Day. And then that extends, it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I think it ends May 2nd. I'm not good at math anymore. Saturday through Monday, last weekend of April, book crawl.
Save the dates. And actually, that's a perfect segue because the nomination period for One Book, One San Diego closes on Saturday, April 30th. So that same day. And just to remind everyone, so all the books tonight are automatically nominated for One Book for 2022. So this is the first round of nominations. And then this event officially kicks off the nomination cycle for One Book. So we want to make sure that you all know how to nominate a book or two or many more. You visit kpbs.org/onebook. And you can review the selection criteria that's there and fill out a very simple form to nominate a book for any of the categories: adult, teen, kids, Spanish language. And it shouldn't take you too long. And you're nominating a book that could be selected for the next One Book season.
And the committee, we, having been in those meetings, we take your nominations seriously. So we spend weeks going through that first pass on that spreadsheet. So we love seeing what the community picks out.
Absolutely. So yeah, every title gets vetted by the advisory committees, and that process takes a couple of months. So there's a lot of books to read, and there'll be even more if you all get your nominations in. So,
and then the rejected titles are fed to the miniature pony.
Maybe. Okay, so thanks to Marion and La Playa Books. We have 2 gift cards to La Playa Books. So let's get out that book.
All right, ready, go.
And stop.
57.
All right, we're hovering around.
I think our timing is pretty consistent, which I think we need to, maybe I'll start in the middle.
Did you say 57, Scott?
I did, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's really ironic. Steve Atinsky.
Hey, how's he eligible? He's a presenter.
I know, and I think he's our next presenter. So
that's running a scam at KPBS. Yes. What are we doing?
Steve is our next presenter, so that is very
okay.
Okay, so we're doing one more.
Yep.
Stop.
51.
Oh, still, I can't get out of the.
That's a lot of metal people.
51, Noella Hernandez. So congratulations to Noella and Steve for getting $25 book gift cards to La Playa Books. All right. So as I mentioned, our next presenter is Steve Atinsky from Penguin Random House. Roll the clip.
Hey everybody, this is Steve Atinsky. I'm with Penguin Random House. I sell Knopf and Doubleday. I'm here today to tell you about Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann. This is a book that came out a few years ago. It was a national bestseller, a finalist for the National Book Award, and received many honors when it came out. It is the true story of the Osage tribe during the 1920s in Oklahoma, who were systematically murdered after oil was discovered on their land. These were people who had been moved from place to place, and they're in a barren part of the state when this discovery of oil is made. And they go from being impoverished to being per capita some of the wealthiest people on the planet. They built mansions, sent their kids to school in Europe, had chauffeured limousines. But then, one by one, they began to be murdered. And there were shootings and poisonings and all sorts of ways that people were murdered. And on top of that, some of the white people in the community, they intermarried with the Osage for the money. And then after those people, their spouses were killed, they inherited the fortune. Law enforcement was in on it, so they did nothing to prevent it or prosecute anyone. And finally, the FBI got involved. And they sent this one agent, he was a former Texas Ranger, to Oklahoma. And he, with his team, including a Native American, the only guy who was a Native American in the FBI, these people went to Oklahoma and they were able to uncover who was behind these murders. It's a great story. It's a page turner. There's a lot to discuss here. Themes of racism and greed and government corruption. The book is available in a trade paperback edition as well as a young readers special edition. There's an audiobook and there's a Spanish language edition. That's Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
A fun fact about Steve, he won a gift card just for showing up to work. So good lesson. Half a life is just showing up, folks. The Killers, that's a great book, by the way, The Killers of the Flower Moon.
Awesome. Yeah, congrats, Steve. That was good timing there. All right, so we're down to our last 3 pitches. We've got some books for kids and teens, which are 2 of our categories as part of one book. Next up is one of our most active community partners, Alonzo Nunes from Little Fish Comic Book Studio.
Hi everyone, Alonso Nunez here from Little Fish Comic Book Studio, proud community partner of One Book, One San Diego, and I'd like to give you my recommendations for the pitch party for this year's One Book, One San Diego. I've selected 3 graphic novels, true to form, and I've selected one from each category, kids, teens, and adults. The first selection is Our Little Kitchen by Jillian Tamaki and published by Abrams Books. This is a really fun graphic novel for early readers and families that focuses on a neighborhood crew as they stock, man, and operate a neighborhood kitchen. Caldecott Honoree Tamaki, of course, does a stellar job of conveying the love, the chaos, and the humanity of this group of people as they prepare food. The illustrations are absolutely magical, and kids would really enjoy this, following the images as they cascade across the page. As a bonus, this book has recipes, which is really fun, in the back, as well as community resources, so that you can possibly start your own neighborhood kitchen as well. The second selection is Magic Fish by Trunley Wynn and published by Random House Graphics. This is Wynn's first graphic novel, and it is a perfect selection for teenagers. It's a semi-autobiographical graphic novel which explores Trung as he helps his mother learn English by telling her fairy tales, and they read these together at night, and all the while struggling with how to come out to his mother as gay. The art is deeply beautiful and moving and pulls from fairy tales, Art Nouveau, and illustration masters. It's just a deeply moving, beautiful work, and everyone should absolutely check out that book. And for adult readers, I have selected Invisible Differences. This book is published by Oni Press and created by Julie Deschaz and Mademoiselle Caroline. It was originally published in France a couple years ago, and it was translated this past year into English. Invisible Differences is a very moving, immersive graphic novel that connects us all to the protagonist, Marguerite, who is autistic and only comes to realize herself over the course of the book that she is on the spectrum. It's a deeply powerful work, great literature, and great graphic novels allow us to really crawl inside characters and see the world as they do. And this work really helps us all to understand what the world is like for individuals on the spectrum. I have had friends and students here at Little Fish who have read this book and they're on the spectrum, and they said for them it was the truest account they've ever read. Those are my 3 selections for One Book, One San Diego for this year, and I'd like to thank you for considering them.
Since Alonso's on the stream, I'm not going to go overboard with how we all love Alonso, but I haven't seen any of the One Book committee members in person really, except for the SDPL folks for 2 years, right? But for some reason I've seen Alonso like 30 times in person because he supports any community event. He's always there to support it, even if it's just as a guy on his day off. So I really appreciate that he comes out for stuff. So
Alonso's great. I'm new.
In fact, he's probably in the auditorium right now thinking that we're in person. He's probably tweeting from there.
Waiting on you there.
Yeah.
Thanks so much to Alonso. And we'll keep going. We have 2 more gift cards. So hang on until the end of the party. No leaving the party early. And we'll move on to our next pitcher, who's Nicole White from Penguin Young Readers.
Hi, I'm Nicole White, Penguin Random House Young Readers Rep for SoCal Indie Booksellers. Today, I want to put 2 picture books in your checkout queue. Why 2 picture books, you might wonder? Because these particular books utilize the universal languages of poetry and pictures to convey big ideas, big feelings, and a sense of wonder in the world for all ages. And I do mean all ages. Let's get started. First up, The Day You Begin, El Día en que Descubras Quién Eres, by Jacqueline Woodson, illustrated by Rafael Lopez. Do you ever feel out of place, unsure, or like whatever it is you have on offer is not enough? This child has, and they're not the only one. I love the lyrical text from recent National Ambassador for Young People's Literature, Jacqueline Woodson. I love the way it connects the words straight to your heart. And San Diego-based illustrator Rafael Lopez paints the anxious uncertainty of trying to measure up and the pure joys of feeling seen and finding your place into every page. I think every reader of any age is deserving of these things and this treasure of a book. I also bring you the curiosity and creativity of Milo Imagines the World, Milo Imagina el Mundo, by Newbery Award-winning San Diego author Matt de la Peña and Caldecott honoree Christian Robinson. Milo is an artist and close observer of the world on a long subway ride with his sister. He pulls out his sketchbook to draw the imagined lives of his fellow travelers. The whiskered man, face scrunched up in concentration over his crossword, the blank, lonely face of a businessman, the wedding-dressed woman with a face made of light. They all have stories that Milo creates in his sketchbook. He also spots a boy in a suit, perfect hair, unscuffed white Nikes. Milo thinks he might live in a castle somewhere with a gourmet chef. Imagine his surprise when the boy trundles into the same line as Milo, heading into the same place to visit an incarcerated loved one. What else might he have gotten wrong? There are whole lives behind every perfect part, rumpled stooped, breakdancing busker, and human that we might encounter, and this book reminds us that every person has a story. I love a picture book with the power to surprise and open up the world just that little bit more to possibilities we had not imagined. And I hope you will consider making one of these picks, the One Book, One San Diego selection. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Two of my kiddos' favorite books. They're back there, both of those.
Oh, cool. And they both have local ties, so that's
Yes.
really cool. And they're both available in Spanish.
I believe Matt de la Peña went to San Diego State.
Yeah, he moved back here a couple of years ago, so he's here again.
Yep, more local ties. I love it. All right, so speaking of local ties, our last pitch is a special new addition to the pitch party this year. I discovered Joyride Bookshop at the Little Italy Farmers Market not too long ago, and they're a mobile children's bookstore. They have the cutest truck, all decked out with children's books, and they feature stories with complex characters and ideas from underrepresented, international, and unique authors and illustrators. So meet Katie Turner and Susie Horn and enjoy their pitch.
Hi, we're Katie and Susie, owners of brand new Joyride Bookshop, a mobile children's bookstore here in San Diego. Thank you for inviting us to be part of this experience. For our first selection, we have chosen Lupe Wong Won't Dance, a middle grade novel available in both English and Spanish by California native Donna Barba Higuera, winner of the 2022 Newbery Medal. Lupe wants to be the first female pitcher in the major leagues and is dying to meet her idol, Fu Lee Hernandez, who is Mexican and Chinese, just like her. To meet him, she has to get all A's, but in order to get an A in gym class, she needs to learn the dreaded and very gendered square dance. I fell in love with the character of Lupe immediately. She is hilarious and tenacious, and any kid who picks up this book will fall in love with her as well. There are beautiful depictions of family and culture in it, and it doesn't shy away from tough topics like loss. A great read with wide appeal.
Our second pick is Flying Lessons, a middle grade anthology of memoir short fiction edited by the amazing Ellen O of the incredible We Need Diverse Books, and includes stories like How to Transform an Everyday Hoop Court into a Place of Higher Learning and You at the Podium by Matt de la Peña, that takes place right here in the Municipal Gymnasium in Balboa Park. Other contributing authors include Grace Lynn, Meg Medina, Kelly Baptiste, and Tim Tingle, to name just a few. In the title story Flying Lessons by Soman Chainani, 12-year-old Santosh is forcibly and hilariously taken out of school on a trip to Spain with his eccentric Indian grandmother, where he learns that there is so much more to his world than piles of homework and perfect grades. There's the beach, nude ones, paella, paleta, and maybe even his very own Romeo. This engaging, funny, important collection of middle grade short fiction highlights the very reason why we need diverse books.
We also want to make a quick final plug for Seeing Into Tomorrow, a picture book by Nina Cruz, in which she weaves haiku written by author Richard Wright with a beautiful patchwork style of photographic illustration depicting Black boys living their lives and experiencing joy while doing it. This gorgeous book includes a biography of Richard Wright at the end to introduce him to a whole new generation.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful, inclusive literature.
Totally cool. And I think, Janelle and you and I were talking earlier in the week that this whole concept that Joyride is doing is really amazing. Books about equity and diversity. And, the reality is maybe 5 years ago, a store focused on those kind of books would be the size of a bike, right? It would be a bike full of books. In 2022, we're up to a truckload of books. So let's try to make sure that in the future we have a full bookstore that has got titles of diversity and equity. And that's up to the publishers, and that's up to us to make clear what kind of books we want to read as a community.
100%, absolutely. So thank you to Susie and Katie. And we encourage you all to check out Joyride Bookshop, check out their website. And
I should also, let me real quick, pivot to diversity and equity. The San Diego Public Library recently did an author event with Heather McGee, The Sum of Us, and it's very topical to what we were just talking about. It is available on the library's YouTube channel. You can watch the full event for free. It was really amazing. It was this week, so it's just front of my mind. So sorry to interrupt.
No, not at all. Check that out for sure. And we have 2 gift cards to Joyride Bookshop, so you all can, 2 lucky winners can pick out some fun books.
All right. You're going to drive around and figure out where they're going to be that day, right?
Yeah, check the website first.
All right,
okay.
Ready.
Stop.
38.
Okay, that's not in the 50s at least.
That's right. We're getting better. As
Oh,
it's
no,
ending.
38? We already called 38. We
No,
gotta...
38? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's try. Sorry, 39.
Stop.
You're probably not going to. 35.
Okay. Terry Olson. Congratulations, Terry Olson. Okay. Stop.
5.
Oh, yes. All right. Let's see. Danielle Clayton. Congratulations to Danielle. All right. So I will be reaching out to everyone tomorrow. I'll just make sure I look at my note here. Danielle Clayton. Congratulations to everyone who won gift cards this evening. So, Scott, how did it go?
I think this is the first event that has involved me that actually went under time. So I guess kudos to you for being able to keep me on point. So it was a blast doing it.
Keeping things on track. Awesome.
Yeah.
We had some amazing recommendations this year. We encourage all of you to check them out. Our reading lists are growing. And the 2022 one book season is shaping up already to be very, very exciting. So as I mentioned, nominations are live. This event kicked off our nomination season. And so visit kpbs.org/onebook to nominate your favorite book and share the form with a friend. We will make the big selection announcement this year, as always, at the Union Tribune Festival of Books in August. So look out for that. And the form is open until April 30th. So please put the word out there and let's get excited about our new one book season. All right.
And I look forward to meeting you, Janelle, in person someday.
I know. I can't wait. And I can't wait actually to meet all of you out there in person. So thank you so much for joining in tonight and let's get reading. Bye.